What's good, everybody? Welcome into the Early Edge, your daily sports betting brand of record. We are powered, as always, by the almighty SportsLine, the best value in all of sports betting. Today is a very special day at the brand. We normally don't get two NFL games on a Tuesday, but we do today. All at the same time, 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight. So we'll be here with you for the better part of 90 minutes, breaking down both games, sides, totals, props, everything you could possibly want right here. Our mega preview will be moved to tomorrow. We will have that start time for you very, very shortly. But it's a Tuesday, so you know I'm bringing in all my heavy hitters. Look at the all-star crew that I've got lined up tonight. RJ White. Everybody is still talking about you and your Stone Cold Steve Austin entrance. In fact, Stone Cold may or may not have called me to say well done. He may have done that.
He definitely did not. Glad to be here on the show. I'm excited for these two games. We got my only downside of it is we didn't get them apart. We have them at the same time because everybody tunes in. We could have got to see two separate times standalone games. Tony Corrente, captain, hip check flag for taunting in that one game, and then Sean Hockley, the guy that took over Thanksgiving, the guy everybody tuning to see on Thanksgiving to throw all those flags. So I can't believe we got both of these guys tonight, and the NFL screwed up by not putting them separate and then making sure that we could get to watch them both.
Wouldn't that be fun? I can only imagine if that – oh, wait, we did that last night, and it was a hell of a lot of fun. So you bring up a very, very good point. However, it's a Tuesday. They can do what they want. So we're going to be talking about both, and then we'll sweat both on social media together. Look who's back, ladies and gentlemen. Look who's back from paternity leave. How is life with the new baby girl, Maestro?
Oh, it's all good. It's really fun, actually. But I see RJ, I sense has some really stored up bitterness towards the refs this year. I think his tweets about the refs this year are like 5 times more than usual.
I'm here for it, though. I am here for it. I love RJ on Twitter big time.
It's 5 times worse than usual. This is the worst year of officiating I've seen, I think, ever. Like, it's so bad.
I don't think I've ever seen, and I saw a lot of quotes from the Bears last night, I've ever seen players back up their head coach who got a very pivotal unsportsmanlike conduct because the Bears completely got screwed last night. They just did. I don't care who we bet on, but they did. 5 personal fouls, and 3 of them were on third down. It just wasn't good for the refs last night, I didn't think. All right, live from Nashville, Tennessee, the penthouse level. These are days that this man lives for. M Squared, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Coach. Yeah, definitely living for it. Got these 2 games, got a full NBA slate, a lot of COVID running through the National Basketball Association as well. Busy afternoon, but busy afternoons where the edge is created. So I embrace it and I enjoy it. Let's do it.
You're damn right. And a couple of things. Several of you in the chat already are commenting on my Cowboys hat. Understand this. When you do what we do, people send you free stuff all the time. I've got a hat for every single team in the National Football League. I just go over and grab one and put it on. So I'm not a Cowboys fan. You all know I'm a Chiefs fan. So enough in the chat about my Cowboys hat. It just looked good. And so I'm going to wear it, period. End of story. Now, guys, before we get into the first game tonight, I'm going to start with you, RJ, because COVID has really started to rain havoc. And last year at this time, this is the kind of stuff we had. Tuesday games, 3 days of rest, 4 days of rest. And now the Chiefs, who have the number 1 seed in the AFC currently, they've just put 7 players on the COVID list, including Tyreek Hill, including Travis Kelce, and they play the Steelers on Sunday. How much worse do you think this could get? Because this absolutely affects the betting lines.
It seems like it could get worse. I mean, they changed the protocol, so I think we all thought that they were going to have less testing unless you're symptomatic, and players were going to kind of fudge their way through looking fine for 10 seconds and then going on and moving on. But apparently a lot of players are showing symptoms because they're testing and they're throwing more of these guys on this list. So, I mean, at this point, it probably will get worse and they might have to move the game again. If they didn't do it, if they did it for these games that are playing Tuesday now, I don't see why they wouldn't do it for this game coming up, especially in such a pivotal game that everybody cares about. You know, if it's Jaguars, Texans, and Jaguars are missing 20 players, who cares? But this one really makes a difference for the playoffs.
There is no question about that. Maestro, what do you got?
Yeah, well, I mean, I got a sick feeling seeing all the news after giving out Chiefs -9.5, but many books, like we've seen when they move the date of the game, if the game is moved, that bet will be voided. In fact, I had a pick on the site on Eagles. I believe it was 6 when I placed it. That got removed from the site because they changed the date. It might happen, but it's interesting to see circa at 7 on the Chiefs, Superbook at 7.5 when we saw 9.5, 10 earlier this morning.
That's a big time difference. It's really a big time difference. Mikey, let's go to you.
Yeah. So first, I want to preface this by saying, obviously, I hope everyone is okay. I hope that they recover nicely. We obviously care about that first. However, the first thing that I did when the news came out is I actually went and bet the Chiefs futures to win the Super Bowl, just because I think it creates a pretty big edge. So the thing that we don't talk about with COVID, and we should talk about it a little bit with Aaron Rodgers, once you are in the protocol, once you test there and have confirmed having a case, you're not tested again for 90 days. Therefore, we cannot miss playoff games with these players now. It's 90 days out past the Super Bowl. You can't miss a playoff game. You can't enter the COVID protocols. You're not going to do any of that. They're not going to test again once they take the test. Okay. Right. So now the Chiefs, a lot of their better players are going to be cleared throughout the playoffs. So the one key one that we need to talk about still, though, is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers happened outside of that window. He can theoretically be tested and start his testing protocols again about 12 days before the Super Bowl. So that's one to keep in mind there. But some of these better teams with these better players, keep in mind that now, if it's happened in the last 15 days, they will be cleared to not have to test anymore throughout the rest of the playoffs. So for me, it actually created a pretty big edge, knowing that Tampa Bay was dealing with some injuries this week, knowing that some of the other key players haven't gone through the system yet. This was a pretty big deal once we got the second news on Tyreek and Travis Kelce, the two best weapons. Again, not where we should all be focusing initially. We should focus on the players' health. We want them to be fine. I hope that they're going to be fine as professional athletes, but I do think it creates a little bit of an edge.
I have never. Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry,
and that's with positive tests. If they're put on as close contacts, they obviously can keep testing. And we saw with Tyler Higbee, right. He went on before the Monday night game, came on. It was a false positive. Came off the next day, had to miss the game, and then went on at the end of the week, went back on the list. So these guys can go back on the list if it's a positive. If it's not a positive test, if they just if they're a close contact and get ruled fine, so just keep an eye on, because not all placements on the COVID protocol are equal. So if it's a positive test, then we'll make you say in plays.
To those points, and I've never meant this more than I mean it right now, we educate and entertain, but today's about education. So hopefully you're listening to my guys right now, because I just learned a bunch of stuff I didn't even know. But Maestro, let me come to you, because Adam Silver said today in the NBA, they have no plans of stopping the season or doing anything of that nature. The NFL was supposed to forfeit games and not move them around. The fact that they've started to do that, RJ, I know he was joking, but do you think it depends on who is playing and their spot in the playoff race on whether or not some of these games are going to get moved?
I mean, that's where the conspiracy theories or the people that, suspect the NFL of playing around will definitely make their case. But, it's very complex. I think so far we're okay in terms of the competitive balance. I know people were crying about, Denver had to play a non-quarterback last year. Just a tough situation all around.
And today, Garrett Gilbert, we're going to be talking about it here shortly. He's literally coming in off the street to start for the Washington football team because Taylor Heineke is on the COVID list. So it's a difficult spot. And you've seen that number just gigantically rise for the Eagles, and we'll get to it in just a second. By the way, for those of you that are very active into the chat, thank you so much for joining us at a weird time on a Tuesday. But Thomas, Addy, DR, the unknown, all of you guys are in here. If you hit that like button for me, we're going to be throughout the next 90 minutes, we're going to put 5 different one-time only codes that you can use for a free year-long membership at SportsLine. But you got to be active. We're just going to drop it in from time to time, but it takes at least 100 likes for us to put in that first one. Let's get to it in 200, 300, etc. All right, guys, let's get into game number one tonight. We're talking about Washington and Philadelphia. Garrett Gilbert starting at quarterback. RJ, let me start with you. This number has now risen up some places 9, some places 10. It keeps moving around. Is it as high as you think it's going to go?
Yeah, I think it's about where it's going to go. I gave it out at 6.5 earlier in the day when it looked like, it was going to be Gilbert. We didn't get confirmation at that point. It was still pretty early. And I said in the write-up, I would play it up to 9.5. I think once it gets to 10, you just don't know with this Eagles offense. We think that they're going to dominate this game, but Washington has gotten back a few key defensive players also. Montez Sweat coming off injured reserve, Jonathan Allen being activated off the COVID list a couple days ago. So this could be a lower scoring game where Philly wins, 13-3 or something like that. I don't think that'd be too shocking, especially considering what we've seen the last 2 nights in the NFL. It seems like these offenses just are having trouble getting going. So I think once you get to 9.5, that's kind of where I'm jumping off. But I played it earlier.
Maestro, let me come to you, because if I'm facing Garrett Gilbert and literally he's had 3-4 days to practice with a football team, how do you play them?
I think it's a little bit of an overreaction. I loved Philly at under a touchdown. I'm not touching it now. He has been in Ron Rivera's system. That's why he was picked off of the Patriots practice squad for this. They didn't go with the guy that they had. They believe it's Shermer. Gilbert has been in Ron Rivera's system. He knows it well. He started a game for the Cowboys last year. They lost 24-19 to the Steelers, and he played pretty well. I'm looking at his game log right now, 21 out of 38. 243, 1 TD, 1 interception against a good defense. So, it might not be a total disaster.
Okay. Let me come to you.
Sorry, I will say, not on the injury report all week. He left that game against the Cowboys, only got 3 targets, did not have a catch. He looks fully ready to go, which should help Garrett Gilbert.
Very good. Very good. Mikey, let me come to you. What is kind of buried in the lead today is that if Washington can somehow figure out a way to win tonight, they would occupy the 7th wild card spot, or the 7th spot in the playoffs as a wild card team. I don't even know how that's possible, but it is. So what does Washington do today, not just to keep it inside the number, which is what we're concerned about, it's a betting show, but also to try to win the game?
Yeah, I mean, the object number one here is take care of the football. You can't have turnovers, and you've got a quarterback off the practice squad, another team's practice squad at that. But I will mention on Garrett Gilbert, I trust him a little bit in this spot. He's more of a veteran than anything at this point. He hasn't had a ton of game experience, but he does have a ton of experience around, like Larry mentioned, this system. I like that he played at Texas, Lake Travis High School, just breeds quarterbacks that make it to the NFL. Like he's very comfortable and confident player. So I'm not terribly worried about him. But as far as them having any chance of winning the game, I mean, they've got to be effective on the ground with Antonio Gibson, or at least dumping short passes to him. And they just can't turn the football over. I do think that they've improved pretty drastically this week defensively. Getting some of those guys back, I think, is obviously a huge, huge deal, especially against a team like the Eagles and the way that they want to play. But as far as Washington winning, you can't turn the ball over, and you're going to have to eat as much clock as you possibly can, shorten this game as much as you possibly can, and definitely do whatever you can to limit the big play.
All right. So with that being said, RJ, the number it's been hovering around 40 today. If he's competent, but Mikey just said they've got to take the air out of the football. So if we attack the total, or somebody wants to attack the total, what would be your advice?
My advice would be to lean to the under. Jalen Hurts obviously coming off that ankle injury. I don't know if he's going to be super mobile in this game. He cleared practice. He was fine. So, he shouldn't be too limited. But in this matchup, he's probably going to want to throw the ball anyway against his Washington defense. So if he doesn't have his full complement of dual threat ability, then maybe he's not going to score that many points. And I know that Gilbert's in the system. I know we're kind of pumping up Gilbert a little bit. Listen, I watched him play at Texas. That is not a plus. I watched him in that championship game completely throw that game down the tubes when my guy got hurt. And it was not pretty. And I probably hold a grudge since, and that's why I haven't liked him since. And he was so bad he had to transfer out. They ran him out of the town, and he went and played, I think, at SMU. But yes, so he knows the system. He knows the playbook. It's not going to be that unfamiliar to him, but he doesn't know the timing. He doesn't know how fast Terry McLaurin runs on these routes. You got to practice with these guys. You got to play with these guys. You got to get a feel for what you're doing. And walking in the building with maybe one practice, he's not going to have that. So I just think these timing routes, you see a lot of these times, these guys that play a long time, Rodgers, Adams, they know what each other's going to do. And so they know So when you need to audible to things, they know where the adjustment's coming. Gilbert's not going to have any clue when that comes out. So I think Washington can hang in early in the game. I like Washington bets early in the game, first quarter, first half, because they're going to have a script. They're going to have some things they can accomplish. Once Philly sniffs that out, I don't think they have anything they can pivot to, and it's going to be Eagles after that. So if you don't like the Eagles minus 9.5, it might be a reason to wait. You'll probably get it for a little bit lower during the game. Then you can hammer the Eagles.
That's a good point. The best thing for an Eagles bettor would be for Washington to score a touchdown right at the beginning of the game. That would be the best thing, because then that number is going to come down to 3 or 4 probably live, and then you could play that. Maestro, let me come to you, because we only have one. It's funny because when you open up the sports books, a lot of them, and I have a couple, there are no quarterback props for Washington. There is no – I didn't have really any offensive props to speak of. Is this a stay away from a props perspective on the Washington side?
Well, I'm looking at some of those props right now, and Gilbert over half a touchdown, minus 240, over 191 passing yards, over half an interception is minus 180. His completions is 17.5. Hurts' completions is only 16.5. One thing I have noticed is Jalen Hurts' rushing numbers has shot up, was in the 40s, now 52.5. I think the feeling is that he's totally healthy and ready to go. McLaurin's number is only 48.5.
It's crazy. They're all at mine. I have no Gilbert props at mine. I have absolutely no receiving props at mine. So it all depends on, I guess, what book you play with. But even if they have them, at minus 180, Mikey, we can't play those. Have you seen anything today? And we'll get into props in a second, but I'm just talking specifically Washington. Anything today that you could even see us playing at all?
You could not on the quarterbacks anyway. You could play unders on some of the receiving, and I think Antonio Gibson's rushing yards. I think that number was inflated a bit. It's even come down a bit too. So they finally. The only receiver props we have are Gibson and McLaurin. There's nobody else for Washington available. And the numbers come down.
Right now, I'm seeing Humphreys 26.5, Carter 24.5.
They might be one of the only ones. Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, it's great. Maybe Caesar's the only one.
I think they got up pretty recently.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into our best bets for the day, because we tell you all the time at home, some of the best bets you make are the bets that you do not make. And today it feels like that, because the number has been inflated to where maybe we can't tease it, but maybe we can. But my expert for that is Mikey. And Mikey, right now, you're the only one, unless I'm mistaken, that has an official play on this game. What is it?
Yeah, I've got an official play on this game that is teased with the other game, but I'm taking the Washington football team plus 15.5 and teasing it with the LA Rams -1. I like the Rams to get the win in that close division game. But this number here at 15.5, 14.5, whatever you're getting, as long as you're getting over 14.5, gets you through most of the key numbers here. I'm pretty confident. We'll say about that. I'm pretty confident that we'll keep it within this number. Ask me again at the end of the first quarter after I've watched 3 series of or a couple of plays from Mr. Gilbert. But at this point, the computer's very confident in the 15.5 and them keeping it there. We like these division games at this point in the season, typically become a lot more competitive, a little lower scoring. It's such, you look at the total in this game and we've got it down to 40 basically is kind of the consensus line. And we're able to get 15.5 with Washington on the tees. That's a pretty good combination in a game that we project to be pretty low scoring here. So I like Washington football team plus 15.5 with the Rams -1.
All right. Very, very good. By the way, if we get to 250 likes, we will drop a yes. Sorry, Mikey.
One more thing, because the numbers have moved a little bit and are potentially moving, if you want to take that 15.5, you can actually, rather than do an official teaser, go into your sports book and build a parlay with the alternate spreads available. And you might be able to drop the Washington football team back down to 14.5, which would take that 120 juice down to like 105 to 110. It would just save you a little bit of juice because the probability from 15.5 to 14.5 is not worth what you would be saving there by doing it. So you may not be able to do it if your book doesn't offer a ton of alternate lines, but if it does, forget the teaser part and build it as a alt spread parlay.
And if you don't think there's a difference in 15 cents, if you watch this show every single day, you know that M Squared has taken you very systematically through why it matters so much if you're playing stuff every single day. So let me, Maestro, did you have something? Did you?
No, I don't have an official prop play on this game, but I was really interested in Gainwell over receiving yards. It was 11.5. Now I'm seeing 12.5. The issue, though, is that Jordan Howard and Miles Sanders will also be active, but Jordan Howard doesn't catch any balls, and Gainwell's gone way over this the last 2 games. But because all 3 are active, I'm a little bit worried about that. But I am definitely thinking about that. I'm leaning over.
Okay, very good on that. RG, let me get before we get into other props. By the way, if there is a prop that you would like at home, put it into the chat for me. Give the juice on it, and we will get to as many as we possibly can in this game. If you're thinking about playing one, I can give anything to my guys, and they can answer it. So, but you've got to put it in there. You've got to let me know. RJ, so M Squared wants to tease it up to 15.5. But what about those people that may want to tease the Eagles down to 3? With the game script that we think is going to happen, would you consider that with the Rams minus 1.5 a better play or an equally good play?
Well, I think if you're teasing, you got to get through the 3. So if it's 9.5 now, you want to make it a 7-point tease, get down to 2.5. Then you're taking the Rams to pick them just to win. So if you desperately want to tease this for some reason, then that's kind of the way I would go with it. If you're looking at 9.5, now if you somehow still can get the 8.5, then by all means make it a 6-point teaser. But at this point, yeah, if that's what's available to you, I'm not trying to tease it down to 3.5. I'm not even 3, 6.5-point teaser, get it to 3. Not even looking at that. You want to get it through that 3.
Okay. Mikey, people are getting very creative in the chat, which I love because this is kind of a different night for us. What would you think about Devontae Smith anytime touchdown and the Eagles to win? It's a money line parlay at plus 210.
Yeah, not something that I would do, but I think that, I have to remember not every viewer watches every show, but yeah, I don't bet touchdown props. I don't bet them. Not one that I would bet though, not on a receiver like that, not in a game script where they're likely going to be running the football quite a bit. So not something that I would bet personally.
All right, Maestro, let me come to you. Gilbert, he may not be popular for any over bets, but what about an under? His completion prop is over 17.5, and the juice is plus 100.
I would surprisingly lean over on that, but only because of the way the Eagles play. If you watch the way they play defense, they let you catch everything in front of them. They make you matriculate it down the field. That's the way they play. I mean, you can dink and dunk your way against the Eagles, and I know he's only been around for 3 days, but I think he can dink and dunk. So if you force me, I'm going over on that.
Okay, very good.
Especially if they're behind and need to throw.
You're absolutely right. So interesting. Now you mentioned the Jalen Hurts, and we didn't talk about it specifically because we weren't there yet. We're there now. This number is 52.5. It's plus 103. He always gets 20, 30 yards because he's dynamic. Would we play it this high? And Mikey, let me come to you on this one.
I mean, I don't love it. I'm probably not going all the way on the under on it. Teaser alert, I've taken the under on the highest number I can get on his rushing yards in the donkey parlay that's coming up in a little bit. But, coming off the ankle injury, backfield's relatively healthy. The team's relatively healthy here. I think that there's the desire for him to still want to go run, but there may not be a need. And knowing that he's coming off the ankle injury, I think that he wants to stay healthy. They're going to want him to stay healthy. So the only real scenario that I like it and think that he just drastically sails over his rushing number is frankly the scenario where it's just a super competitive game throughout, and that kind of takes over in some of those situations. But if they're able to move the football without it, I lean towards the under on all of the numbers on Hurts, but that's just me.
Interesting. Okay. Very, very good. So with that being said, let me come to you, RJ, because Hurts touchdown prop. A lot of people in the chat want some exotic plays today because I think the Washington doesn't serve up a lot. Over 1.5 touchdowns is juiced to plus 130.
Yeah, if you think the Eagles are going to score a decent amount of points, then yeah, that's a good one because they've been dominant running the ball lately. They've established going up and down the field, but that Washington defense, I believe, is 32nd in the league in pass touchdowns allowed. So once you get to the red zone, I want to be throwing the ball, and you're going to be looking for Goddard. You're going to be looking for those bigger targets there. So I think that he could get over in that because it's just going to be there for him. Get a little confidence, throw it in the red zone. And Washington is more than happy to let you score touchdowns on them passing the ball. And I think Washington's, strategy coming into this game defensively is probably to shut down the run because they see how dominant the Eagles have been running the ball, and then take their chances with these passing game weapons. So if the Eagles are smart at all, they should be, drawing up these red zone pass plays that could get Hurts a couple touchdowns.
I like that a lot.
I
like that. Yeah, go ahead, Maestro.
I should point out Washington's missing its top corner, Kendall Fuller, tonight.
That's a big, big deal. It's a big, big deal. Coming up in about 6 minutes, we're doing the VJM for this game and also the first donkey of the night. We're having 2 donkeys tonight and 2 VJMs tonight. But we've got to get to 350 likes in order to give that out. So over the course of the next 5 or 6 minutes, I need you to hit that like button for me so we can give out what you guys love every single primetime game, and that is the donkey. Maestro, let me come to you because Cooper Kupp, we never see a number this high. And I almost want to play it just to, I'm going to get to that. And that I'm getting the games mixed up already. When you look at catches in this game, yardage-wise, Devontae Smith, he's either been feast or famine. Over 49.5, minus 114 for the Heisman Trophy winner. Do you think he's going to have a big game or not even show up?
I think a pretty good game just with Washington selling out for the run and, like I said, Fuller not being available. He's played in every game, and now you're missing your top corner. So if I had to, I would lean over, but I would worry about game script, as Mikey said.
Okay. On the rushing side, if we're looking for just numbers, Mikey mentioned Antonio Gibson. His rushing total is one of the few numbers I could find is 65.5 minus 109. Mikey, I believe the Eagles are going to stack the box and make Gilbert beat them in the air. If that's the game script that we believe will happen, is that 65 too high?
I think it's probably right just because of, we'll see. I think the number at 65 is correct. I think it's really, really efficient. I think he's going to land right between 55, 70 yards. I think that's right where he should be. I don't really think he's anywhere close to going much above this. I don't think the game script matters too much for him in terms of the opportunities. I think he's going to have the carries no matter what. With the offense out there with Gilbert in this game, they're still going to try to run the football. I do think they use him a little more in the passing game as an extension of that run and dump some passes to him. So I'm not taking anything on the actual number here, but in the donkey, you will see what I have done with some of his alternate numbers.
And McKissick is out again. So in terms of his targets, and I see BR in the chat liking Gibson over receiving yards partly for that reason.
Do we like that, Maestro?
I'm looking at it. Definitely looking at it.
All right. Let me know if you want to make that an official play before the end of the show. It's all right. We got time. All right. We are getting up there in the likes world, but you know that me and Mikey do not play. If we don't get to 350, there will be no donkey for the first game. We got to get there. There's plenty of people right now getting in. All right. So it is the top of the hour. And every top of the hour, we do what I consider the most fun pick of the entire day. And believe me, we're going to get to the Rams and the Seahawks in about 15 minutes. But this is what we call the VJM. And this is the Van Jefferson Memorial first touchdown of the game. And do you want to be in the club? Do you want to play with us? Because we're completely interactive. We want you to play with us. This is where we predict it's got to be plus 1,000 or above the first touchdown of the game. Mikey, as always, this is your segment. You get to go first. What do you got, big boy?
Yeah, so the guys have already kind of mentioned the script here is to throw against the Washington football team when you're down in the red zone, and I think that's what they're going to try to do. I'm going Quez Watkins at 2,500 over on DraftKings, plus 2,500. I think this is an interesting spot for him. I expect Jalen Hurts to take a few shots down the field as well in this one. And he's the preferred target when we're going deep down the field. He's not going to draw near as much attention as someone like Devontae Smith. So I like Quez Watkins plus 2,500. Again, that's where it is on DraftKings. It's all the way down to 1,400, I believe, on FanDuel and some of the other books. So just another case where the discrepancy from book to book should not be that high. So that was a good play for me.
All right, I think that's a great play for you. By the way, a big audience watching right now, well over 500 people and only 250 likes. Come on, pound that like button for me. It only takes 2 seconds. All right, Maestro, it is so great to have you back, but more importantly, the club, it's become so serious without you gone. And I got to tell you, there are cliques that are starting to form of those that are in the club and those that are not in the club. But you, sir, you're never part of a clique. You run to the beat of your own drum. What do you got for us today?
Yeah, it's not a plus 4,000, but Terry McLaurin, I mean, he's healthy. They're probably going to be trailing. He's the dominant receiver. I think it's 1,300. I sent it in. Might be 1,200 right now. I'll take a shot on him. Why not?
All right. Very good. All right, so the Maestro's back. He's got his pick for the first game. Now, this man, he may be stoic. He may not give you much from an emotional standpoint, but he is one of our favorites, and he is now in the game. But the question is, RJ, tonight, are you going to be in the club?
I'm getting in the club tonight, and you know what? I'm bringing you with me because I went Kenny Gainwell. Plus 1,500 on Caesars. You can probably find better on FanDuel, on DraftKings. I think it's around plus 2,000 somewhere. Look, Washington's given up a league worst 27 passing touchdowns, like I mentioned earlier. 8 of those have gone to running backs. And Gainwell has shown over the last few weeks he should be the receiving option at running back for Philly. He's dynamic in that sense. He scored last week, although it was a rushing touchdown. He was the backup running back number 2 with Howard out. But he has a nose for an end zone, 5 touchdowns on just 83 touches this year. So if they do involve him in the passing game, he knows how to get into that end zone. And if Washington is just bad in the red zone and giving up all these pass touchdowns, especially to running backs, that's a guy I like where you're going to find value, especially if you're getting it up in that plus 2,000 range.
There is nothing I would like more than to enter the club with you. I don't need to say any more because I'm on the same guy, so I don't need to waste any time on that because RJ knows way more than I ever thought about it. So I'm on Gainwell. Also, Jeweler, show your face.
Coach,
all right, big.
I'm taking a play out of your book, and I'm gonna copy off of someone else's work.
Okay.
I'm going with M Squared. He said he's already asked him to put my order in. He's getting a Negroni for me. We're gonna have a little pregame beverage, pre-dinner beverage. Also going with Quez Watkins.
Oh, he's one of my favorite names in all of the NFL. And I have these visions a lot. And I don't care if Mikey, Maestro, RJ, but with you, it's personal. And if I don't get in the club before you, Jeweler, this great close host-producer relationship that we have, it might do that. I'm just saying. That's how seriously I take this. I
don't disagree with that. I don't disagree.
You're like, me too. I don't want to work with you either. Okay. Are we at 350 likes yet? Are we?
332.
Okay. We have 18 more, and I'm going to give you 2 minutes to get it done, or you will not get a donkey. We will play the donkey ourselves because I already know what it is. So I don't need to give it to you. So real quick, we're going to change over to the second game in a matter of moments. But real quick, for those of you who came at the top of the hour, our only best bet, Mikey, can you re-give it to us, please? And I'm only going to give it till Mikey gets done giving his best bet one more time, and then we're moving on from the donkey. Mikey, what's our best bet today?
Best bet for the day for me is the Washington football team plus 15.5 teased with the LA Rams -1. That's going to come back at minus 120. I like them to stay within that number. Pretty key numbers that you are through there. My only other advice on this one is if you can play and build parlays with alternate spreads, you don't have to do the official teaser there. Take the Washington football team back down to 14.5 and bring the juice back down to minus 110, minus 105.
If there's one thing that I've learned from you, it's the juice matters. The record doesn't always matter. The juice matters because that can make you profitable. All right. Did we hit 350? If the answer is no, we have hit it. All right. Yeah. Very good, people out there. By the way, many of you in the chat rolled with us from the morning show. You know that we're sweating live. The Wyoming Cowboys are up 11 heading into the fourth quarter. Let's go, Cowpokes. All right, Mikey, We love the donkey. We all love the donkey. For game number 1, the floor is yours.
All right. Coach may not like this donkey because there are 6 unders in said donkey. However, maybe 7 actually. Math was never really a strong suit for me. So,
Yeah, right.
Philadelphia Eagles minus 2.5 on the alt spread. Washington football team plus 19.5 on the alt spread. The under 50.5 total points in the game. Jalen Hurts under 249 passing yards. Antonio Gibson under 84.5 rushing yards. Jalen Hurts under 74.5 rushing yards. Miles Sanders under 79.5 rushing yards. Dallas Goedert under 74.5 receiving yards. And Devontae Smith under 74.5 receiving yards.
All right, soak it all in. We'll leave it up there. A lot of unders. It's okay. I hit 3 NBA unders last night. I'm like, if they're going to overinflate the lines, I'll grab them. We're going to put this up before we end the show. We'll put it up back-to-back with the donkey for the second game that we're moving into right now. But there you go. You have those plays. If you're fortunate enough to be at a book where you can play them, you know this is a ton of fun. And we've hit this many, many times this year already. Okay, now let's switch gears because there is a second game tonight, and it is the Seahawks. And a lot of people are riding them, +7 in L.A., taking on the Rams. They've been better offensively lately. Russell Wilson seems to be getting healthy again. But now with the Arizona Cardinals losing, boys, over the weekend, this is now a must-win for the Rams as far as where they want to go for the playoffs. RJ, let's start with you. The Rams are giving 7, but yet a lot of people, including you, think that the Seahawks have rebounded and can stay within this number. Do you still feel that way right here, right now?
Yeah, Seahawks have been playing competitive football the last few weeks. Russ rushed back from that injury. I don't think there's any question the way he played the first few weeks. He wanted to prove it to people that he could be back in 3 weeks when they told him 6. And he frankly should have stayed out a few more weeks because he was not the same quarterback when he first came back. But he's been a lot better now. That offense has improved mightily over the last few weeks. And Rashad Penny added another dimension to that offense last week with the rushing attack. And I think you want to run the ball against the Rams. And so now that the Seahawks have a running game and they kind of run the ball no matter what, whether they have a running game or not, they just like running the ball. And now they have somebody that can be effective in the running game. I think they can have success here. Now, Rams defense surrendered 28 plus points in 3 straight weeks. Then they blew out Jacksonville. They didn't give up a lot of points. Congratulations for that. And they gave up only 23 to Arizona. But that 23 came with 447 yards of offense for Arizona. So it's not like the defense shut them down by any means. So with Seattle playing well the last few weeks, this seems like more like a close divisional matchup between two rivals that always play some, competitive, not always, but a lot of times play competitive games. I think we're going to get a 3-4 point margin here instead of the 7.
Very good. Big Cheesy, we'll get to your prop question here in just a little bit. But Maestro, let me come to you. You heard RJ talk about offense, and they've been playing better offensively. The Rams have shown this year at times they can score a lot, and then they've shown at times that Matthew Stafford is still the quarterback that played in Detroit. They've been like this. What do we make tonight? Do you think there's going to be a lot of points scored, or will they be hard to come by?
I think it'll be an entertaining game. I think there'll be a lot of scoring. And I'm with RJ in that I took the Seahawks, and it's on SportsLine earlier. He made a lot of great points. One guy I follow on Twitter, TA Analytics, a really great information guy. He points out that not only are the Rams, and we talk about Tyler Lockett's out, that's huge, but what about Havenstein, Jordan Fuller, one of the best safeties in the league, Higbee, a key cog, they're all out for the Rams. But the right tackle, the backup, Noteboom, he's out also. That means Alaric Jackson, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, 9 career snaps is going to start. And Darrell Taylor of the Seahawks, pretty good defensive end with 6 sacks, could have a field day there. That's just one matchup to watch. I think the Seahawks have turned a corner. I think Wilson's healthy. Give me 7 points. The underdogs in the NFC West games have been cashing. Russell Wilson as an underdog, 16-7 when getting more than a field goal. The Seahawks as underdogs in general, 15 out of their last 21 they've covered.
I'm just sitting here thinking about a couple of things. I'll get back to you, both of you. Mikey, let me come to you because you have the Rams. You got a big old smile on your face because you love to see people fight it out. You brought this game down to 1.5 in your teaser, but the Rams, they played great in their last game. The defense was all over it. The offense seemed to be figuring it out. Make a case, not from the teaser minus 1.5, but make a case for the Rams to win by more than 7 tonight.
Yeah, and I just want to disclose that I have the Rams -1. I actually wouldn't still do the tease necessarily at -1.5.
Okay.
For full disclosure out there. I mean, you can still, but I prefer the 1. Basically, I'm expecting a tight division game here. You can obviously make the case for them winning by double digits here. They have really, really, really good receiving weapons. We've talked about Robert Woods being out for them. Odell Beckham looks great. I'm going to be honest with you. He looks fantastic. He looks like a totally different player. He looks electric again in this offense. And that is enough right there that they can easily get this done and go win by 2 touchdowns in this game pretty easily. But we see it all the time. These division games, they get tight, they get competitive at the end of the year. These teams know each other incredibly well. So I don't love the Rams side -7. So I make the game -6.7 for them, which is a pretty good number. It's not really a lean anyway. If I had to lean at this point now, it would be on the Seattle side, getting the 7.5s in the market. But for me, it's going to be a competitive game. I think the Rams are very clearly the better team, and they should find a way to win the game. But I certainly am not expecting or projecting a blowout in this one.
Mikey, you're not helping me. You're not helping me. I was hoping I could rely on you, but alas.
Well, I'm saving you money. I'm absolutely helping you.
That's true. That's true. All right. I think this is going to be a stay away from me. But AB just put in the chat, AB, this doesn't help me. The Rams are 6-0 this season against teams below 500, and they've won all 6 of those by at least 9 points. Why do we have to have a Chick-fil-A nugget of the day right now? Because I'm an idiot, so I'm going to do it. RJ, are you in on a showdown? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Maestro, are you in on a showdown? 7 is the number. Yes or no?
No doubt.
Then come on, Jeweler. Hit the music!
It's gonna be a showdown.
One of these days, RJ's going to dance, and the early edge will be over. The show will be over when that happens. I will die if you ever dance, RJ.
That's what they said at junior prom, and they're still waiting. I'm just kidding. I danced a lot. I danced a lot at prom. I'm gonna lie. Somebody's gonna have video. I know it was the 90s, so I mean it's not, people don't have cell phones there, but I'm sure someone has video. So
oh my God. I would love that so much. Oh my gosh. Now that's all I have in my head is right now. But officially we have a showdown. 7 is the number, me against RJ, and then me separately against the Maestro.
Oh, I thought AB was involved in this.
Oh no, he didn't. No, it's against me. I'm going to go against both of you.
Okay, because he's been posting all the comments in the chat. He posted his pick on SportsLine. He's been giving out all these nuggets about how terrible the Seahawks are. So I thought he could chime in the chat if he wants in.
Well, I mean, if he really wants
he's
to,
calling him out. I like that. I like
that too.
Let's go.
Hey, Jeweler, get a hold of AB. Get him on the show right now because we need to hammer this out. Because I cannot have Maestro talking trash. I tell you what, life.
I'm not talking trash. I'm just pumped.
No. Oh, don't backtrack now. Don't backtrack now. No. That's trash. That is trash, and I'm here for it. So don't back up. We just need the other person to answer the trash, and that's okay. We know where to find him. Oh, now we're getting good. Now we're getting going. Here we go. I like it. And even the bosses are saying, step it up, AB. He's nowhere to be found. AB all of a sudden is talking in the chat, talking on Twitter, but Maestro calls him out. Nowhere to be found. Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. All right. While we await an appearance by AB, we will move on because we got a lot of things to talk about. You've already heard our best bets. Both RJ and the Maestro, they're on the Seahawks plus the 7. I am on the Rams minus the 7. AB is on the Rams minus the 7. But this is a game where props actually are at the sports book. So if you have a prop that you would like us to talk about, and you have the juice on it, please put it into the chat, and we will get to as many as we possibly can over the course of the next 10 to 15 minutes. Let's start M squared. We talk about Russell Wilson not being completely healthy. He is playing better, but we love to play his interception props because for some reason, at some point almost every game, he tries to make a miracle throw, and it's a mistake. It's plus 115. AB's not here, but this is a prop that he loves. Do you like it?
I don't, just because I think they're going to try and run the football a lot. And I think they're going to throw shorter passes to the tight ends. I think they're going to use the tight ends a ton in this game. So I don't think we're going to have as many as some of those more aggressive passing attempts that we're kind of used to when he's got both Metcalf and Lockett on the field. So based off my simulation number and the price on it, I do not like it. I'd have to get all the way up to like plus 150 to be starting to consider that one.
Okay. Very good. RJ, let me come to you. Devontae Smith, his receiving yardage over 49.5, minus 114.
Yeah, I talked about in that game when we were talking about it that I like them to pass a little more than people expect. He's the type of player that can break one.
Sorry, I'm an idiot. Sorry, go ahead. I'm an idiot.
No, I like.
I forgot we already
wrote
asked
it
that
down.
one.
I didn't give out a pick for that game, but if I was going to, that was going to be the one I gave out. Devontae Smith over 49.5 receiving yards, because I do think he can get one of those shorter passes. We've seen he's electric with the ball in his hands, and against a defense that's terrible defending the pass, he's the type of guy that could get to 50 on 2 catches. So I would play the over on Devontae Smith.
All right, let me come to you, Maestro. Russell Wilson. If the game script is what we think it is, and they're playing from behind, his touchdown number is minus 110, over 1.5. So he'd have 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's good. I think they're going to have success offensively. They scored 63 points the past 2 games. He's had a very high completion percentage, 47 of 65. I think the last 2 games he's fully healthy. There is no Lockett. You got to hope that Swain, Eskridge, and the tight end Everett in a revenge game can help him out along with DK Metcalf. So yeah, I would like it. I would lean over.
Okay. Very, very good. One name, M Square, when I come to you, when I looked at the numbers for this guy, I mean, you talked yesterday on the show how there's only a certain number of receivers that have over 100 ever by their name as far as yards are concerned. Cooper Kupp is one of those guys, but not only is his number way up there, his catches are at over 8.5. That's the highest number I've seen all year, and it's juiced to minus 140. Your thoughts on either one?
Yeah, so I can tell you my median catch number is 9.2 for Cooper Kupp. I think that they're absolutely going to lean on him like they have been. That's just what they do. I'm expecting the game to be a little bit more competitive than most. That's when they're going to need him. That's when they're going to go to him, is when the game's going to be more competitive. So I'll simply say on the Cooper Kupp prop, I would lean whichever way you lean in the game. If you think the Rams win really easily, I would actually shy away from the Kupp props. If you think it's going to be a really tight divisional game, that's a clear 1-score game, then I would lean on Cooper Kupp. And I would actually start, believe it or not, with the reception total number, even though it is so high, over the yardage. I think he's going to get peppered with targets in this game. So that's just what I expect in these division type games. Yes, the number's big. Yes, you can always lean under on them. I would lean under on them if you think the Rams blow them out, frankly, just because that likely means that Goff is hitting other receivers. It likely means that they're having a lot of success on the ground or defensively with some shorter fields, which all takes away opportunities for Cooper Kupp. But I am in the camp that thinks it's going to be competitive, so I'm not touching them. I have obviously a ton of them in DFS, but if I had to, I would play the over on the reception total.
It's funny how our minds play tricks on us because you said Goff. And it's actually Stafford. It's crazy.
I've never seen the 2 guys in the same place at once. So,
so
a couple weeks ago, they looked like the same player. You remember when Stafford was struggling? I kept on thinking it was Goff. So
they really, really did. RJ, let me come to you. Great analysis, Mikey, by the way. The difference between the catches and the yards.
Yeah.
Everett, over 33.5. The juice is minus 110, RJ. Do you like him today?
You would think that he would get more work with lock it out, but that they don't do the same things. You're not throwing the ball downfield to Gerald Everett, and he's been a little bit unreliable with his hands. We've seen him drop potential touchdowns, and I don't know that it affects him long term. But I also don't think that you have to worry too much about him. So I think if he goes over that number, it's not going to be by much. So you're really having you're lowering your percentage rate of hitting it. I think because if I think he's going to top out at 40 and the number's 33.5, there's a lot of scenarios I see where he's coming 29, 25, 10, these numbers are in play for him. So I'm not really looking to the over when it comes to Everett. If I had to play it, I'd lean to the under, but yeah, he's not the guy I think picks up the slack with lock it out.
Very good. So Maestro, if that's the case, and we also think the Rams are playing from in front, then Darrell Henderson will be in play as he always is. His receiver prop is over 17.5 minus 106. What I'm more interested in is his rushing prop, which is 46.5 plus 110.
I love him. The thing that happens with him is he gets dinged up a lot, and I believe the Seahawks rush defense is very stout. I'm going to check the numbers right now. But if I had to, I would lean under.
Okay.
Number one in yards per rush allowed in Seahawks. So.
There you go. All right, so we would lean to the over, correct, RJ? Yeah, Mikey, what do you got?
Yeah, I just want to caution on some of the Rams running backs. It sounds, if you can trust any of the media reports and the stuff directly from McVay, it sounds like we're dealing with like a true 50-50 timeshare tonight. Based off how Sonny Michel has been playing recently, which he's been playing pretty well, combined with the injuries and then this late in the season wanting to keep them both healthy. He was basically on the record as saying we have two starting running backs. The flow of the game will dictate who ends up getting more touches in the game. But I would expect them to see pretty equal workloads. I would not be going into this with the idea that Henderson is the number one back.
Okay. And what were you going to say? Play the under?
Yeah, I gave out I have a single game props article that came out on SportsLine today on this game, and one of them was Henderson's under because of what Mikey's saying about Michel could just as easily have more and many carries as him. So if you're not getting 20 carries with that guy, you can't, or 16 to 20 carries. If it's only 10 against a great rush defense, it's going to be really hard to get over a number. It was 48 earlier in the day. I think some people are throwing up things like 44. You can see it's kind of dropping, but I would not be confident at all in him going over a total.
Let me tell you what I have it right now. It's at 46.5. So is what I have it at my book. You would play that under, correct?
I like that under. Yeah, I go the under to him probably around to the 42 range or so.
All right, we play it down to 42. All right, live bet right here. We tell you all the time. We get asked all the time, by the way, do we bet real money? And do we really bet when we say we bet each other? I've got two words for you. Hell yes, we do. But also, we police each other, and that's why this show is so much fun. That's why this brand is what it is why all of you come here every single day. But there are times when one of us steps up and becomes a savage, and today the Maestro is that man. So I have gone on a search, and we have found the opposition. Ladies and gentlemen, ruining my flow as always, please welcome to the early edge, dial up. Or you can call him AB, Alan Bell. Show yourself.
What's up, boys? Can you hear me okay?
Oh, we can hear you just fine. Is there any reason why you're not showing your face?
Yeah, so, we're a little busy here at dinner time at the drive-thru. We're trying to get these chicken sandwiches out. But I'll tell you this, all right? Here's the deal. The Rams are going to cover this game. I'm in for the showdown. That's no question. But what I will do is this. This is how confident I am in the Rams. I think that they're going to win by double digits tonight. If they do not, okay, showdown money that I win, everybody in the chat right now, hit like, okay, and drop your Twitter and a Venmo handle and jeweler. After they hit like, select one of them. If they don't win by double digits tonight, I will send that Venmo that I win in the showdown to one lucky person to prove to you, Coach, and prove to them, Coach, what you just said. We do bet real money around here. So everybody drop your Twitter handle, Venmo in the chat, and you got to hit like. But yeah, Rams cover, Rams win by double digits.
There's a lot to undress right here. First and foremost, Maestro, do you accept the showdown? That's the first thing.
I do. Did you have to say the word undress? Yes, I do accept the showdown.
That's something I don't want to think about ever, ever. Second thing, how are you dropping so many nuggets into the chat when you're actually working right now at the same time? That's amazing. Third of all, are you wanting 2 showdowns, AB, one each with RJ and Maestro? I already have 2. I don't know if RJ wants to, but would you want to challenge RJ also?
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's keep it simple. I'll keep mine straight with Maestro. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll just do it one-on-one. So we'll keep it simple. But yeah, like I said, if the Rams do not win by double digits, everybody in the chat, Twitter handle, Venmo, Jeweler, select one. Yeah. We'll
Okay,
figure it out.
so if they win by 8, you would beat Maestro, but you'll still pay somebody in the chat.
Somebody in the chat's getting
Correct.
$100.
All right, somebody's getting $100. If they win by
Correct.
8 or 9, or if they win by just single digit, you're sitting there no matter what happens with your showdown. Am I clear on that?
Correct. Yep.
Okay,
Correct.
Got it. All right, well done, sir. You can get back to the fry line. Tell all the good people at Chick-fil-A we said, what's up? And we will see you tomorrow, my man. All right?
Absolutely. See you guys. Thank you.
All right, that is
Yeah,
the one
AB.
and only Dial Up AB. They're never too far away, Maestro. They're never too far away. Boy, that's a lot of fun. All right, so we are approaching the bottom of the hour. It's been a ton of fun so far. So how many more? You know what? We're just going to give out. On this one, we're just going to give it out because a lot of you have been watching for a while, and we appreciate it. So it is now time because I don't see any more questions in the chat about props. So we never push it. We never waste time. So it is now time. This really feels good to do a second VJM, to have 2 chances tonight to get into the club. So let's do it now, and then we will give out the donkey afterwards. And if there's any final things we need to do, we will do them, or we will get out of here and get ready for the games, which start in about 30 minutes from right now. All right, so Mikey, you're up first. What do you got for the second game?
All right, let's keep focusing on some tight ends. As you know, we do a lot on these VJMs. I'm going Will Dissly for the Seattle Seahawks. I expect them to run a little bit more 2 tight end sets in the red zone, not having Lockett out there and having that run game available with Rashad Penny. The number's just too high on this one. Plus 4,000 over at MGM, plus 3,500 at DraftKings. I think this number should be all the way down to plus 2,500 if I were setting the market on it. I think that the game's mostly competitive in this spot, but he's a tight end that we know Russ has looked to in the past in the red zone. When you remove Tyler Lockett, he's going to go to what's familiar, and what's familiar is going to be finding those tight ends in those spots.
All right, very good. Unfortunately, I really like that play. All right, Maestro, what do you got for the second game tonight?
I'm going to go with the other Seahawks tight end. He played his whole career with the Rams. Then he came to the Seahawks. I know he's dropped some touchdowns, but Gerald Everett has scored a touchdown in 2 of the last 3 games. I think it's a nice narrative story as well at plus 1,200. And like we said, no Lockett. Let's go with Gerald Everett.
All right, very good. RJ in the chat, my man Dan says, RJ, can you leave so you can come back with the Stone Cold Steve Austin entrance? Best moment in early hedge history. Hands down, I would agree with that. We've had some great moments, but that one, RJ, was the best. What do you got tonight?
Yeah, I was on Sonny Michel at plus 1,000 at Caesars. I don't know if it's come down a little bit since then, but that struck me as a little high number because, like we were saying, we think that it's going to be split between him and Darrell Henderson, and they're going to be, if they're giving equal playing time. I know the Seahawks, like I said, have a great rush defense. I'm not talking about going over a total here. I'm talking about getting down to the 3-2-1 yard line with a pass interference play maybe, and then plunging into the end zone. And who are you going to do that with? You're going to do that with the guy coming off an injury. You're going to do that with Sonny Michel has proven himself over the last couple weeks. So I think if the Rams score first, I like Michel to plunge it in here. And I think we're getting a pretty decent number if you can get plus 1,000.
Yeah, I think that's a great number. By the way, we had a bonus chat question, and RJ, I'll ask you. Sonny Michel, we talked about Henderson and splitting 50-50. His number is 44.5. So somebody wants to know, should we play that under also? Or what would you recommend at 44.5?
40, yeah, I would treat those guys kind of the same right now. I think we have the information that says that treat them as the same. So I like going under on Henderson when the number's 46, 48, obviously better than a 44 number. But, if I said 42 on Henderson, I'm probably thinking 42 on Michelle. I just don't think it's as actionable, but my lean is still to the under there against this really good defense, not knowing how this splits up.
Okay. Very good. Thank you so much. Hopefully that answered the question in the chat. All right. I'm going to go with, because I felt like it was kind of poetic justice when M Squared took this man the second time after we named this entire segment after him. So tonight, out of respect for M Squared, now respect for the man himself, plus 1,000, Van Jefferson. I'm going with tonight. Matthew Stafford deep over the middle. Cash it. And we go into the club. And then we cash it in the Eagles game too. And me and RJ walk into the club, high-fiving, popping bottles, doing it all 2 times in one night. I can feel it. I can feel it. And the one man that I will talk trash to the most, show your face right now. Show your face. That's the man. That's the man. Give me your second pick, big boy.
We're going to go with Freddie Swain.
Oh.
At plus 1,700. Obviously we got to dodge the fact that Seahawks are a touchdown underdog here. So, hey, stranger things have happened as we found out this week.
We literally had a man a week ago, plus 12,000 score the first touchdown of the game. Anything can happen.
We had
literally anything can
had
happen.
no
And a game without a touchdown.
That's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. And
Oh,
that was
no.
plus 11,000 or something. That was crazy. Crazy.
No.
All right, jeweler. All right, jeweler. Oh, golly. So many people in the chat worrying about Jalen Hurts. I don't think I've ever seen, guys, a string of days, even last year during COVID, where there was so much uncertainty around what was going to happen in said games. Last night's games were absolute trash. But the one thing that we will never have, is questioning whether or not we really bet our bets. Mikey, my man Trey in the chat is starting to question. He says, so does M Squared just do these for fun since he doesn't like betting touchdown props? Just wondering, does everyone actually make these bets? Can you answer that, please?
Yeah, actually, I dropped a response with my account here. I'm logged in, but so all the touchdown props for me and the donkey parlays are 0.1 unit plays for me, and that's where I play them at, which is basically entertainment for fun. There's still upside on many of them, but most of them are just 0.1 unit plays. All the plays that I give on the show are full unit plays, but these are 0.1 for me.
Yeah.
Just a
But
little
we actually
sprinkle, yeah.
do. We still bet them.
But
I
yes,
mean, you bet the donkey. You don't just give it out. We bet it. We bet everything
Yes.
we give out on the show. Every single thing.
Yes.
We play it. Absolutely 100%. All right. Speaking of the donkey, we have arrived for a second donkey. And I would all of you like to at least say, just type the word thank you in the chat for me one time. I know you're all wanting the $100 from AB, but Mikey spends a lot of time on these donkeys. We say it's for fun. I say, it's for fun, as if I put in any of the work. I do nothing. This is all him putting in the work, putting in the time, putting in the numbers. So be appreciative of the hard work that all of my guys put in, but especially Mikey for these donkeys for every single show. Mikey, the floor is yours.
All right. Seattle Seahawks plus 17.5 alternate spread. LA Rams minus 1.5 alternate spread. Over 36.5 total points in the game. Cooper Kupp over 89.5. Gerald Everett over 19.5. Odell Beckham over 34.5. Van Jefferson over 34.5. And Will Dissly 5+ receiving yards. Plus 800 on this one.
Speaking of Dissly, I just got dissed by the bosses in the chat while you were doing the donkey. He said it's the first time I've ever said anything accurate on the show in the show's history. That hurts, Noah. That hurts a lot. I mean, not so much, but it hurts a little bit. All right, so soak it in. Soak up the donkey. All right, a couple more seconds. All right, there it is. All right, so here's what we're going to do, because the game starts in about 25 minutes. You guys have put in all that you want. We never press the issue. So we'll go over our best bets one more time. Then guess what? We're going to get the hell out of here. We don't have to go to the top of the hour. So our only best bet of the show, I believe, is Maestro and RJ. So a lot of people just joined at the bottom of the hour. There's our best bets and our VJM. RJ and then Maestro, piggyback why you guys are on the Seahawks tonight, please. RJ, you go first.
Yeah, it's the best bet on the spread. Seahawks +7. I just think it's a low scoring, not a low scoring, a competitive game where the winning margin is going to be lower. Seahawks have been playing well lately. Good great run defense. Russell Wilson playing better. So this just seems to me, even if the Rams do get out in front with Russell Wilson playing better, I think Seahawks can cover in the back door if we need it. If we're down 10 and AB's starting to count his money, we're going to get that cover at the end of the game. So I like the Seahawks there. We didn't talk about it. I like under on DK Metcalf, receiving yard 74.5. You can get that at FanDuel. I saw that number, and it's like, why would you do that? It seems like with Lockett out, he's going to get all the targets, right? And I think it's an easy assumption, but the Rams know that too. So why would they just roll their coverage to taking Metcalf away as much as possible, letting guys like Freddie Swain and D. Eskridge beat him, And even with Lockett on the field where Metcalf should have softer coverage, he hasn't managed to click in the passing game recent weeks, not topping 60 yards since all the way back in week 7. So with the success Seattle found running the ball, I think they stick to that and keep the Rams offense off the field, reduce possessions. That's what they've been trying to do because and it wasn't working. That's why they had fewer. I think the play differential between the number of plays they saw and the number of plays they ran was way at the bottom of the league, and that's starting to turn around because they're starting to be effective doing what they want to do the last few weeks. So it just seems to me this might not just be a lock for Metcalf to have a huge day, because we've thought that with some of his matchups in the last 8 weeks now, and it hasn't happened. So I'm leaning to the under here, especially if you can get a good number like 74.5, like I saw at FanDuel.
Oh, I love that number too. Paul in the chat says, thanks for the entire year of great material. Paul, thank you. We need everybody like you to make this brand grow. Maestro, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to just echo RJ on the Seahawks. And even though they're missing Lockett and other key guys, the Rams' 3 main guys that are out are pretty big. The starting tight end, the starting right tackle, and their best safety. I think those are big losses. I think Russell Wilson, as an underdog, he's playing better. He can find other targets without Lockett to get them the cover. And then we didn't talk about it, but the Rams' backup tight end with Higbee out is Kendall Blanton, 6'6", out of Missouri. Last game against the Cardinals, 55 snaps he played. He ran 25 routes, 52 snaps, I should say. He ran 25 routes. He got all 3 targets, 2 catches for 29 yards. And the thing is, the Cardinals defend the tight end well. The Seahawks are dead last defending the tight end in terms of success rate. So I think Blanton over 22.5 is a good play. And as BR in the chat suggested, I've been looking at Gibson, looking at Noah McKissick, looking at Garrett Gilbert, dropping it off. Gibson fumbled last week and got taken out of the game. If he can just avoid that and the game is competitive, I think he gets a monster workload. So I'll go over 14.5 receiving yards for Antonio Gibson.
Oh, I love that a lot. I was looking at it as you were giving it to us. I got to get it in now before the game starts. I love all that. Hopefully you guys are taking all that education information because there's so much good stuff for both games tonight. I love it on Tuesdays. A quick reminder, we're going to do our mega preview tomorrow. Jeweler, what time is that on Wednesday, please? I do not have the time in front of me. And then I got one more thing to do before we get out of here. What time is tomorrow's show?
Tomorrow's show is at 10 a.m. We're doing the mega preview on Thursday.
Oh, my bad. Okay, the mega preview is on Thursday at what time?
1:30 p.m. Eastern, right after we tape a little soccer with Martin Green.
Wow, how about that? So we're going to do our soccer on Thursday. We're going to mega preview on Thursday. I'm assuming no, there's no more Thursday night football. So that's done.
There is.
It's the last game.
There is. This is the last game this week. Okay, I keep getting mistaken. So we've got a bunch of content. All I can tell you to do is follow our YouTube page. You're watching it right now. Turn on the notifications. That way, every single time we start a show, you will know you can come over and check it out, and you won't miss anything. But let's recap the Donkeys very quickly and then say our goodbyes and just enjoy the night like we always do together. There is the Donkey, and as always, like did every single show, letting my guys tell me what they're most looking forward to tonight. RJ, kick us off.
I'm looking forward to the Seahawks-Rams game. Should be a competitive game. Seahawks playing better last few weeks. It seems like a much better matchup than the other game. I'm looking forward to not watching Garrett Gilbert if I can help it, because I saw enough of him at Texas. So give me a Russell Wilson versus Matthew Stafford showdown in what I think is going to be the much better game of these two.
All right, very good. Maestro, what are you looking at tonight?
Yeah, Jason in the chat asked about Gibson at up to 16.5. I would still play it over at that number. I'm also looking at the Seahawks. I know the Rams can smell first place in the division, but the Seahawks, they have to win they have to win every single game. They have turned it around. They are completely desperate, and we have seen the Rams fall on their face sometimes as a home favorite. So I'm also, like RJ, hoping for a competitive game so I don't have to eat crow with AB tomorrow.
M squared, talk to me.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to maybe like a long pass interference penalty that gifts the Washington football team some yards so I can see some RJ White tweets early in the night tilting that game. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to see how all of these teams respond. I think they all have a ton to play for. We haven't talked about the Rams and really what they have to play for here, but they could be the top seed in the NFC still. The Tampa Bay Bucks are really beat up. The Colts get to go in there and potentially beat the Cardinals. It's not,
Well, the
this
Packers,
Rams team,
Packers control their
Yeah.
destiny at 11-3.
right.
Yeah.
Right. But if they keep winning these games, it's, they have a good shot in the seeding here. There's still a lot to play for that Rams team. So, yeah, looking forward to these games, see how all these teams respond.
Mikey, quick question from the chat. How sketchy is a double result parlay with both home favorites for tonight?
Both home favorite, like just on the money line, or
no, I'm saying with the points, like +9, or excuse me, -9 and -7.
I mean, it's really tough to do, but it just depends on the payout on it. Obviously, I need the payout.
I think it's double result, so it's like win each half.
Gotcha.
Game.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay. Interesting. I normally don't do that, so I don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, it not something that I typically would do, but I do think that both of the home teams should end up winning the games. So,
okay.
As far as covering, that's a completely different story, especially in the Rams game.
That's such a completely different story. All right, so we have selected our potential winner in the AB Venmo sweepstakes, as I am going to call it. So, Hugo Hartnell, you are now pulling for the Seahawks to not lose by double digits. If you, sir, see the Rams lose by 9 or less, you will have $100 cash money coming your way from our man Dial Up AB in your Venmo by the end of the night tonight. Good luck to you, Hugo. Actually, I hope you don't win because I'm on the Rams. So I don't want you to win. All right, boys. What a great time this was, a special Tuesday show. One of the beautiful parts about the Early Edge is that we can move our content around to fit the schedule that works for sports and for all of you sports bettors at home. So thank you for finding us today. Thanks for rolling with us. And we'll be back live tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time with our normal daily show, Early Edge in the morning. So there's only one thing left to do, and you all know what that is. You got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets except the Seahawks +7 straight to the pay window for my entire crew. I love them so much. RJ, Maestro, great to have him back. M squared, AB calling in from work. And, of course, the jeweler, our executive producer, who puts it all together here at the brand. And Noah and Kelsey in the chat, always running things there. It takes a village. And, damn it, we love it so much. Tell all your friends. The only sports betting show you even need to worry about is right here. We like to call it boom, boom, boom. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. The Early Edge. Good luck.